An epic experience at 3.5 hours. Good to see Martin Scorsese there, looking good at the age of 80. Good to have you with us here on BBC News.
Exploring the media revolution.
Tonight at
Everyone's
8:30
entitled
on
to an
BBC
opinion.
One
What they're not
and
entitled to
iPlayer.
is invent facts.
Get the background on the biggest stories.
It's not so much there's a risk you're being played, it's just that you have to go into it with your eyes open.
People saying this cannot for influence
I can
and
understand
attention.
why people would
The
say
moment you
that.
have rage and conflict, the algorithm's going to be like this.
And the companies shaping the future.
Linear television will die over time.
It would be so much
The
simpler
Media
to
Show.
say it's a ghost.
I'm Danny
Watch
Robbins,
on BBC
and
iPlayer.
this is Uncanny.
Starts next Friday at 9, BBC 2 and iPlayer.
It's 1 o'clock. This is the BBC News with Jane Hill.
Today at 1, a huge win for Labour over the SNP in the Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election.
Michael Shanks, Scottish Labour Party, 17,840.
A swing of more than 20% was larger than had been predicted.
This is a first step on a very, very important journey for all of us in Scotland, for all of us across the whole of the United Kingdom.
We'll be live in the constituency and ask what that result means. Also on the programme, a man is due in court charged in connection with a suspected plot to kidnap the ITV presenter Holly Willoughby. After 5 years in prison, we hear from the man whose family spent hundreds of thousands of pounds clearing his name. And a remarkable story of survival of the tropical turtle washed up on a beach off the island of Iona.
On BBC London, after a big rise in the number of people being admitted to hospital following food-related allergic reactions, we hear from excerpts about how to prepare and protect in the event of a seizure.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the BBC News at 1. Labour has emphatically won the Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election in what's being seen as a key test of the party's ability to regain seats in Scotland. With a larger than expected swing of 20.4%, Labour's Michael Shanks secured just under 18,000 votes, more than double the total for the SNP's Katie Loudon, who came second. The by-election was triggered by the removal of the SNP's Margaret Ferrier after she broke COVID lockdown rules. Our Scotland correspondent Lorna Gordon was at the count. And let's go straight to our political correspondent Nick Eardley, who is in Rutherglen this lunchtime. What could this mean then, Nick, for Labour at a general election? Nick, thank you. Nick Eardley there. Every family in a village in northeastern Ukraine has been affected by yesterday's missile attack on a cafe, according to the country's interior minister. 52 people are now known to have been killed, about a fifth of the village's population. The attack took place in the Kharkiv region of eastern Ukraine. The blast in a small village, Rosa, is the deadliest in the country in more than a year. Russia hasn't officially commented on the strike, but has claimed it doesn't target civilians. Our correspondent, Abdul-Jalil Abdurasulov, reports from Kyiv. Thank you very much. The latest there from Kyiv, from our correspondent, Abdul-Jalil Abdurasulov. A 36-year-old man has been charged in connection with a suspected plot to kidnap the ITV presenter Holly Willoughby. She didn't appear on yesterday's edition of This Morning and is believed to be under police protection at her home. Our correspondent Sarah Campbell has joined me. What more do we know, Sarah? All right, Sarah, thank you. Sarah Campbell. The most vulnerable children will be living with the impact of COVID lockdowns for the next 10 or even 20 years, according to the former Children's Commissioner for England. Anne Longfield has been giving evidence to the COVID inquiry and said that in any future emergency, Schools should be the last thing to close and the first to reopen. Our education reporter Vanessa Clark joins me from Salford. Tell us more about what Anne Longfield's been saying. Vanessa, thank you. Vanessa Clark. The Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the jailed Iranian human rights activist Narges Mohammadi. The Nobel Committee in Oslo praised what it called her fight against the oppression of women in Iran and her efforts to promote freedom for all. The 51-year-old is serving a 10-year prison sentence for offences including propaganda against the state. Caroline Hawley has this report. The time is 1:15. Our top story this afternoon. Labour celebrates winning the Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election with a swing of more than 20% from the SNP. Still to come here, we're with the Wilko staff who are shutting up shop for the last time.
And on BBC London, the Millennium Bridge has a wobble closed to the public so experts can carry out emergency repairs. And it's going to be a very hot weekend ahead. We'll have a full weather forecast in 15 minutes' time.
Every year, thousands of people in England and Wales are accused of crimes of which they're later acquitted. While their names may be cleared, they're often left emotionally and financially devastated, with many forced to pay huge legal fees out of their own pockets. Our correspondent Nick Garnett has been to West Wales to meet Brian Buckle, whose family spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on his defence. This is the first time that Brian has spoken publicly since being cleared of all charges earlier this year. The final Wilko stores will close for good this weekend. The 90-year-old budget homeware chain went into administration in August. Some shops have been bought by rival retailers but will be rebranded. The owner of Poundland has bought 71 sites, which they will rename. Another rival chain, B&M, has agreed to buy up to 51 stores, although there are no details yet about which ones. Wilko employed about 12,500 staff. Some have been offered roles with other retailers, but the majority have been made redundant. Our business correspondent Emma Simpson has been to Leicester, where Wilko was founded, to join workers for their final shift. A man has pleaded not guilty to the murder of PC Sharon Beshanivsky. The police officer was shot dead after she and a colleague responded to reports of a robbery in Bradford in 2005. Pirandita Khan, who is 74, appeared at Leeds Crown Court this morning after being brought to the UK from Pakistan in April. The next Paralympic Games get underway in Paris in August next year, and it's been announced that from now on the Paralympic flame will begin its journey for the torch relay, which takes place in the run-up to every Games at Stoke Mandeville, because that is where the Paralympics movement was born back in 1948. John Maguire has the story. Now, a tropical turtle that was found washed up on a beach in Scotland last year has been released into the Atlantic Ocean after what's being described as a remarkable recovery. When the turtle was found off the island of Iona, she was malnourished and dehydrated and not expected to survive. Graham Satchell tells her story. Oh, fantastic. And that takes us to a look at the day's weather prospects. Sarah Keith-Lucas has joined me. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Jane. With some really mixed weather types out there today, and in fact, as we head through the weekend as well. So very mixed fortunes, depending on where you are. Now, this is the picture out there this afternoon in Hampton, West London. Some warm blue sky and sunshine out there, but a very different picture further north. We've got more cloud, outbreaks of rain of the new week, and then turning more unsettled from Wednesday onwards. Jane.
Sarah, thank you very much. Thank you. And that is the BBC News at 1 for today. You can keep up to date, of course, with all those stories on the BBC website. And here on BBC One, the news continues, of course, because let's join our colleagues wherever you are this afternoon. Have a very good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Welcome along to Sports Day. I'm Adam Wilde. It's day 2 of the Cricket World Cup and things are finally poised in Hyderabad with Netherlands taking on Pakistan.
New figures published today show that 40% of those hospitalised with a severe allergic reaction were not prescribed an adrenaline pen. Now 2 leading allergy doctors have produced guidance for patients in the hope it will save lives and raise awareness. Alpa Patel reports.
Hello, let's start with the Cricket World Cup, which continues today after England's defence of the trophy started with that crushing defeat on the opening day yesterday. Today, it's Pakistan taking on the Netherlands.